The information is presented for educational purposes only, is not intended to diagnose or prescribe for any medical or psychological condition, or prevent, treat, mitigate, or cure such conditions. This information is only presented herein for entertainment and educational purposes only. Hi, welcome to the Whole Body Detox Show. I'm your host, David DeHaas, where each week we bring you information on how to heal the body naturally. We're located in Boise, Idaho, where we do a 10-day healing retreat, and are best known for helping people get their health miracle. If you want to know more about that, go to healingtheincurables.com. That's healingtheincurables.com. Or you can reach out to us on the telephone, 208-378-9911. Enjoy today's show. Good morning, everyone. David DeHaas from Living Waters Wellness Center and host of the Whole Body Detox Show, where each week we bring you information to educate you on how to keep your body healthy so you can be living life well rather than just existing on this planet. Lots of things to do and enjoy, but if you don't have the facilities in your body, in other words, if your heart's not beating properly, if your legs can't move like they used to move, then we need to talk. And we need to talk about detoxification, which we talk about each week on the program. Today, I'm going to start this off with an article that I wrote called Body Talk. If you could hear your organs talking. Knee joint. Hey, Mr. Liver. Can you just do your job? I was not meant to be a storage repository for all these heavy metals. Liver. Look, dude, I'm not doing my best, but I'm getting so many toxins. Our human keeps drinking out of aluminum cans, and it's safer to store the metals with you and the brain. Brain. Thank you for thinking of me. Liver. You're welcome. Knee. Can't we ship this stuff out down the alimentary canal? Liver. I think the colon has real problems. Colon. Dang it, our human is sending us such miserable food to digest. Not much fiber, and she doesn't drink much water. All those donuts and milk have created a gluey substance that is adhering to the walls. All that coffee has dehydrated me. I got major sections that won't move the food along. The human. I wonder why I haven't had a bowel movement in days. I don't feel well. Liver. Try harder. Colon. I can't. They just took some pain pills and that shuts down my transverse colon. I have waste piling up down here. Brain. No wonder I have brain fog. Lymphatic. Holy heck, the blood is putting out such toxic fluid. What's going on? Blood. Don't blame me. The colon is so backed up, all I get is crap. Literally. Lymphatic. I can't hardly take it anymore. Our human doesn't move much, and this fluid is getting pretty stagnant. I have 80 lymph nodes blocked. If I don't get this fluid moving soon, we're going to have full-on cancer. Liver. Maybe we should send our human a message. Colon. What are you thinking? Liver. Time to send a message. Our systems can't take much of this. Let's make him throw up. Colon. Good idea. Because these laxatives are making things worse. I can barely squeeze to move the poop along. Arm. Hey, would someone tell those neurons in the colon to fire up the nerve to me? It hurts to lift my arm. Colon. No can do. Our human has so much stress, we have a lot of blockage going on down here. I have sections of twists and kinks. I need hydration. Stat. Human. I wonder if a colonic can help me. Yes. Conclusion. Yes, a colonic can help you. If you have that body talk going on in your body where you're not feeling well, maybe your joints ache a bit, maybe your eyesight is starting to diminish, maybe your hair is falling out, maybe your nails are weak, maybe you're just lethargic, or you have brain fog, or maybe something worse. Guys, as we've talked about week after week, we talked about this in depth in my video called 4 Natural Laws of Healing. You find that by going to livingwaterscleanse.com, livingwaterscleanse.com, and you'll find the webinar called 4 Natural Laws of Healing. You need to watch that. You need to watch it with your whole family so that you understand how everything is connected to the gut. It's your second brain. And they call it that for a very good reason, because how it operates is how the rest of you operates. So it's really important to keep that colon functioning properly, move those toxins out. Like mentioned in this little story, the lymphatics having problems because the colon's overburdened and now the blood is toxic. And when that happens, you can't get the nutrition that you're taking in. And for those of you taking very good quality supplements, I commend you for doing that. But even then, we can help the process by getting the colon and the small intestine cleaned out. In other words, let's get the pathways to get the nutrition to the cells opened up. I call it the highways to health. You've got to have those pathways opened up properly. And as experts have said, if you have a clean and healthy colon, if you clean out and detoxify your body and apply the proper nutrition, there's really hardly any way that you can be sick or ill. So it begins there. The foundation of your body is the colon. And there's where colon hydrotherapy comes in. If you've never done a colon hydrotherapy process, what are you waiting for? Most of our clients get off and say, oh my gosh, why did I wait so long? I feel lighter and refreshed. It's the common theme. Well, when we get that colon cleaned out, now the neurons in your colon can fire and wire the nerves that go out to your arm, your hands, your groin, your legs, your knees, your eyes, your ears, your heart, your liver, your kidneys. Everything has a connection. The problem with today's society, if you've been so brainwashed to believing that you have to take a pill for your symptom. Why are we treating symptoms? Let's get to the root cause of the problem. But usually there's not enough evidence that has come forth from you because the doctor's not properly asked the questions to find out how toxic you really are. We have to clean the body. We clean the body, everything else you go do is going to work so much better. It's got to begin with colon hydrotherapy. It's the reason why we started the 10-day cleanse back in 2009. My family had some serious issues, including myself. If you read my story, you'll hear a bit of it in the video. But I had numerous illnesses and diseases. I mean, I hurt all the time. My body hurt, my joints hurt, my knee hurt. I was always having some, injury happening to me. It's just because I was so toxic. And then eventually I had cancer. And it's because, again, I ate a lot of bad foods in my early youth. Had a lot of heavy metals put in my teeth, mercury amalgams. That was a huge, huge, huge factor in causing my pain and my problems. And so when I began doing colon cleansing, it was like, wow, this is quite a difference. And then when we put together the 10-day, we discovered that, 10 days in a row, it takes 10 days to get around the colon. We tie those together with all the other multiple modalities that we use here at Living Waters. It makes a tremendous difference. We see people come in. Some of the worst cases we've ever seen of people who have been carried in, wheeled in a wheelchair, electric wheelchair. They've been carted in. We've had to lift them out of their chair to even get them on the colonic bed to do the services. But, some of those people have been, able to get out of that wheelchair, use the aid of a walker in 5 days. And maybe in a month, 2 months, 3 months, continued cleansing, detoxification, proper nutrition. They're walking without the walker. They've healed their body. You got to hand it to the body's ability to heal. It's absolutely astounding how quickly, when we apply the right methods, that it can heal. So whether you've got a hormone issue, a thyroid issue, brain fog, joint pain, constipation, of course, you got to start with colon hydrotherapy, even cancer. Because we got to talk. What we're going to talk about later in this show, we're going to talk about a little critter that really affects the cancer and affects other things as well that you may not be aware of. But so important to look at what are you putting into your body. One of the biggest things that I tell my family not to drink out of is aluminum. The aluminum is going to collect in the joints. It's going to collect in your fingers. It's going to collect wherever it's going to collect. And eventually it's going to cause a problem. Aluminum is very damaging for the brain, for example. Why would we drink out of aluminum? Well, it's cheap. It's easy to recycle. I drink out of glass. I reuse the container. I drink out of glass. In fact, I don't even use a glass. I use a jar, or I use a repurposed or recycled juice jar, 32 ounce in the store. And the reason why I like those is because it's my gauge of how much water I've drank for the day. I want to get 4 of those down. I usually fall short. I'm not a good water drinker. I'll admit that. Much better than I used to be. Way better. Because I learned that if you don't want to have Alzheimer's, you want to be sure you feed your brain water. We want to have a lot of water in our body. We want to properly hydrate the tissues. For those of you who are drinking coffees and sodas, I know your dilemma. I was there. It used to be 6 Coca-Colas a day, maybe a coffee in between. And that, of course, eventually, I paid the price for it. It took me a number of years to turn around my health. Thankfully, colon hydrotherapy was like zip to the headline. It's so wonderful. to be able to get this garbage out of my body, especially the toxic chemicals from the aluminum, from the Coca-Colas, from the sodas, from the sugars that I ate. All these things, caused me to be addicted to the things I didn't want to have. In order to get rid of that addiction, that affliction, you've got to cleanse the body, deeply cleanse it. And I've seen people, heroin addicts, meth addicts, and we've seen them turn around pretty doggone quickly when we get them in here and do a thorough cleansing. Okay, we'll be back. And if you've never been into our clinic, I want to make sure that you come and try colonics. Everyone in this town needs to do a colonic. Everyone. It's just so helpful to get the body cleansed. And to do that, I'm going to offer a special. It's $99. With that, you're going to get a consult. You're also going to get a far infrared biomass session. You're going to get a lymphatic detox session. It's a little over a $200 value for just $99. So call the office this week at 208-378-9911. Again, 208-378-9911. There's something that most of you are walking around with that you probably are not aware of that are causing you a problem or created your problem, and that is your teeth. For years, dentistry has been using mercury amalgam fillings. Some of you may see it in the form of a silver filling in your mouth or a gold crown. Underneath that lies then the filling made of mercury. Now, some of the dentists have begun over the last few years, started switching to a different source that's more of a clear, more opaque, more the color of the teeth. But the problem is, even if you had mercury in your body before, you still got a problem. You still have the mercury in the tissues. What are you doing to detoxify the mercury that you have now or that you don't have? And by the way, to illustrate how bad this is, you want to take care of this, but we want to clean you up first. We want to detoxify the body before you go have this surgery. And the surgery I'm suggesting is that you have the mercury amalgams removed. But before you do that, we've got to improve the health condition of your body. And we want to do that by detoxifying the body and doing a liver cleanse. It's really important to make sure your pathways are open, because when the dentist, even if they use the best procedures, again, there's only a few dentists in the state that are qualified to do it properly. In fact, until recently, I used to send people to Anacortes, Washington, because those people have been doing it since 1984. They've got it down. They understand how important it is to properly remove this. They themselves wear hazmat suits in their clinic. They know mercury is super toxic. Go to the University of Calgary website. University of Calgary did a video. You can go to YouTube and just Google University of Calgary mercury. University of Calgary mercury. Watch how the vapors come off of your teeth right into your brain. It's the only heavy metal that degenerates brain neuron tissue. It's the only heavy metal that degenerates brain neuron tissue. What happened? Why are they using that? Well, ignorance mostly, and the other part was they have a license. Dentists have to have a license to practice. And to get that license, they have to follow their code of ethics. And by golly, their code of ethics just happened to say, you can't talk negative about mercury. Mercury's not bad. It's inert. We know that's not true. We know that's not true. When I met Dr. Hal Huggins back in 2004, he was the dentist that taught other dentists how to properly remove mercury amalgams based upon the former research of Dr. Dang it, I can't remember his name right now. I'll think of it in a moment. But anyway, he inherited his research in 1972. And I went and I had 13 fillings in my mouth. And I was in surgery for 11 hours. I had one root canal. I had it all taken out, everything removed and replaced. That next night was a different day in my world. I slept through the night. I had dreams. I hadn't had dreams. I can never recall ever having a dream. I slept good. All my body functions worked better. It was absolutely astounding how much different I felt. How important is this? Well, at this place we went to, I actually had to go to Montreal, Canada to have this done back in those days. There was a guy that was there who couldn't walk. He was in a wheelchair. He'd been diagnosed, had been given all the great labels, Parkinson's, MS, ALS, MS. He had all the labels. Everyone gave him a different label. But somehow he found Dr. Huggins, and 3 days after having his mercury amalgams removed, he could get out of his wheelchair. He could walk up and down a steep flight of stairs, something he could not even have dreamed of doing day one. In fact, day one, they packed him into the clinic. So quite a change just having it out. Now, After you have it removed, there are things you want to take nutritionally as well to keep absorbing these heavy metals out of your body. A great inexpensive one is chlorella. Everyone should probably in this world should be on some kind of chlorella to help absorb and move out some of these heavy metals we're absorbing. Look at what we live in. Look at the sky. We're going into winter here in Boise, Idaho, and sometimes we get inversions, and all that carbon monoxide just gets stacked in here, and you're breathing that. This summer we had problems because of the smoke in the air, the inhalation of all those particles floating through the air. It's horrendously bad for our tissues. We were able to measure it here with our antioxidant scanner, seeing people's score decrease 30 to 50%. 30 to 50% decrease. So it's really important to understand the toxic environment you're in, but what can you do to mitigate the damage? Well, that's where regular cleansing comes in. So regular cleansing comes in the form of doing colon hydrotherapy. It's looking at what you're eating. It's looking at where you're sourcing your food sources. Are you buying organic? Some people tell me, "Oh, David, it's expensive." Well, you're going to pay for it sometime down the road if you don't go organic. The pesticides alone on celery, super toxic. Super duper toxic. All of them are. And there's actually a list out there. You can probably Google it and find it, the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen. So fruits and vegetables that you could possibly avoid not having organic, and those you definitely need to seek out and have organic. So grab those lists and make sure you're shopping. Again, I only go to stores that have organic. And if, as a population, we demand that. We demand change. Our farmers are going to have to change. Right now, the farmers have put on loads and loads and loads and billions of pounds of the toxin glyphosate. Many companies have banned that. If you listen back in the May 31st, we put up a podcast by Dr. Don Huber. In fact, it was a 2-part podcast that he talked about glyphosate and what it caused, the damages it causes to kids. Kids are being born with these deformities because the mothers and the fathers have absorbed the heavy metals and the toxins, especially the glyphosate. And he has pictures and information to back all that up. It's horrifying that we're still doing this in our country, but the problem is not enough of us are awake yet to understand that we need to demand how our food is being prepped, how our food is coming to us. And we definitely, you want to buy, you vote with your checkbook, guys. You vote with your checkbook. So and when you go to a restaurant, ask them, is this organic? Ask them, how are you cooking this? Are you cooking this out of a Teflon pan? What kind of a pan are you using? Are you using aluminum pans? Teflon? Then I'm out of here. I don't want to be eating food cooked in those types of pans. Which is why, the reason David hardly goes out to eat anymore. I understand how toxic a lot of these restaurants are. So finding a good, clean source is really important because as you get older, as you age, those things catch up to you, but they don't have to. Great case in point is, who would you like to age like? Normal person or Jack LaLanne? If you guys remember Jack LaLanne, that guy was still exercising and doing everything into his late 90s, still speaking engagements, still on television at 94, at the age he died. If you want to be happy, if you want to be and have all your faculties, your brain especially, your joints, be able to move about, you need to take care of it now when you're in your 30s and 40s and 50s. It's not too late ever to start. Unfortunately, I get a lot of people come to me when they're in their 70s or 80s begging for help. We do help them quite a bit. Astounding, actually, to see some people who have no energy, very severe brain fog, and all of a sudden now they're moving better, their joints are better, they can work in their garden, and they can actually live life well rather than just existing on this planet. Way too many people are just existing because of their choices. It all comes down to choices, guys. So what are you choosing? How are you choosing to clean your body? Well, we suggest colon hydrotherapy. Again, take me up on the offer. It's $99. You're going to get a consult. You're going to get a far infrared biomat treatment. You're going to get a lymph detox. And you're going to get a lot of questions answered. You're going to learn a lot just in the session. So it's well over $200 value for just $99. Call the office this week at 208-378-9911, 208-378-9911. Go to the website, livingwaterscleanse.com. Grab that webinar, 4 Natural Laws of Healing. 4 Natural Laws of Healing. And be sure to watch that webinar because it's required. If you're going to come in, you got to know what you're doing. I'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned. You can't treat the body and heal it a piece at a time. You have to treat the whole body naturally. That's why Living Waters Wellness Center 10-day healing retreat is so successful in helping what I call the incurables back to wellness. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
For over a year, I've been dealing with gas pains, stomach pains, and it's been waking me up in the middle of the night, so I never get a full night's rest. And last night, after my first colonics, I slept through the entire night without any stomach pain or any kind of issues.
I suffered from migraine headaches for 12 years, once a month, and since I did the 10-day retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center 8 years ago, I have not even had a migraine. I've not even had a headache.
I had back pain on my left side for about 20-25 years. After the 10-day healing retreat, the pain is completely gone.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to healingtheincurables.com or call the office at 208-378-9911. That's 208-378-9911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience and may not be right for you. Seek the opinion of a qualified healthcare professional before determining if cleansing is right for you. So if your body internally is talking, like we mentioned in the first segment of this show today, you're not living life as accurately as you can be. In other words, maybe you are partially sick, half sick, or full-on sick. You know, as we age, most people attribute to pain in the joints, brain fog, to just living longer, right? In other words, well, I'm getting a little older. I guess I should be sore like this. I guess it should hurt to get out of bed in the morning. I guess my feet should hurt. But, I'll take some ibuprofen for my knee pain. If I'm going to go skiing, I'll take something for an aspirin. If you're doing those kinds of things, if you're medicating most of the time, well, that's a problem. That's a toxic body. Let's just clean out the toxins. Let's free that up. Look, over the years, I've had people come in here who can't squeeze a remote control. Their hands will not come together, form a fist even. We clean out the body, guess what? Flexibility is back in the body. Why? Got rid of the heavy metals. Obviously, prevention is very important, but probably for those of you who are listening to any intensity of this program, you've come to realize that what you've been doing isn't working. In other words, medicating a symptom is never going to heal the symptom. Now, sometimes you need a little something to take away maybe the pain. For example, my wife was in a severe accident, broke a bunch of bones. Pain meds were good. Needed those pain meds right then. But when it come to getting off of those pain meds, we had to make sure, all the inflammatory issues were down. In other words, we made sure to give her non-toxic food. She drank out of non-toxic containers. We baked everything in non-toxic pans. She could not eat the food in the hospital because it's so toxic. They don't do organic. They're doing traditionally chemically grown food. And most of you are buying it, as evidenced by most stores don't have a very large organic section because you think it's expensive. No, I'm telling you what's expensive. Expensive is when you can't go and run the 5K you've always dreamed of running, or when you can't play with your grandkids, or you can't go on the honey trip anymore, or you can't go to Disney World because you're just too sick with your grandkids and you want to go, go see them. You can't do that because of you're partially sick. Let's detoxify the body. Let's get it back to wholeness, back to wellness. There's no reason whatsoever that you're not living as vibrantly as I am, or Jack LaLanne, or anybody who's got their health. It all comes down to avoiding the obvious. Spending the money on organic food is priority number one for any family. Staying away from the chemicals on the other raw vegetables, and then staying away from the chemically packaged foods. I have very little packaged food in my home. I have some cans of garbanzo beans and black beans and kidney beans. Other than that, I have a organic seed cereal. And I think that's the only packaged stuff that I buy, other than almond butter. There's a few butters I buy and so forth. But other than that, I don't do too much of that. And the reason why, because I've spent a lot of money getting well, and I'm going to invest my extra money in healthy, organic, non-toxic food. 'Cause I've been on the other side of being in a toxic body, and it's not fun. And I'm still cleaning it up. I've done over 540 colonics. I was pretty sick, guys, back in the day. And, I looked healthy. I played a lot of basketball. It took me an hour to warm up to just be able to play. I was always injuring myself. Couldn't figure out why. I was in my 30s, and people said, "Oh, David, you're just getting older. You're just getting older." Not true, my friends. I was just toxic, super toxic. And you are too. And so if you're living on this earth, you're going to be toxic. And so regular maintenance is very important as well to keep your alimentary canal open. The alimentary canal is your small intestine and large intestine. Really important to keep things moving through there. So if you're constipated to any degree, and most of you are, if you're eating a meal and not having to evacuate, that's a problem. So if you're going once a day and thinking you're regular, that's not regular. And most of the people, of course, that we see maybe go once every 2 days or every 3 days or every 4 days or once a week or every 2 weeks. I mean, pretty crazy how long some people wait to go to the bathroom. And they've tried laxatives, and of course, eventually those make things worse. So let's get the body cleaned out. One of the other key factors that is really detrimental to health, especially for if you're getting cancer. If you listen to Dr. Hulda Clark's research, she says if you want to get rid of cancer, get rid of the parasites right now. And I would add to that, you're also going to need to make sure you take care of your dental toxicity, especially root canals. Hal Huggins, who I met back in 2004, he shared with me, I had a good friend of mine at the time, she had a supposed rare form of breast cancer. And as he says most women who have root canals eventually get breast cancer. And I had another cancer person in this last week who says she's got many root canals. Not a good thing. And the reason why is the root canal can never be properly cleaned out fully. And it builds up a toxin greater than botulism, according to Dr. Hal Huggins. And by the way, if you've got mercury amalgams and you want to really learn about it, his clinic, he's passed on about 3 years ago, but his books are still there, and he has someone who's trained and took over his clinic down in Colorado Springs, and I would reach out to them, and they have a test you can go through, a urine test and a hair analysis and so forth. But they also will print out what's recommended for you in terms of what you put back in your mouth, which is very, very important. And he'll also talk about, some of these issues. Is it your hormones or is it the dental fillings in your mouth? So we got to clean up your body and get the alimentary canal open, the colon and small intestine clean before you can start dumping the liver, because the liver cleanse is important. We talked about the liver here a week or so ago in detail. It's really important that that liver is supported and not just a bunch of toxic chemicals thrown at the liver. The poor thing, for everything from the aluminum that you're drinking out of, we talked about the Teflon pans, the aluminum pans. Anytime you got food sitting in pans a long time, for example, buffets. My wife and I very seldom will go to a buffet. Usually it has to be forced upon us. In other words, as a family gathering. And even then, anything that's been sitting hot in a aluminum or supposed stainless steel canister, we're not going to eat out. My wife can actually tell as soon as she takes a bite, she can tell whether it's got metals in it. She's that sensitive to it. So it's really important. And we're all sensitive. It's just that she knows it. Most of us don't. So it's important to understand that the neurological diseases that are rampant in our society come because of what we're eating out of, how foods are being prepped, the foods we're eating, and the chemicals that we're breathing in. And if you're living in the Treasure Valley, you're breathing in a lot of chemicals. It's really important that you do regular maintenance to keep your body well. And like I mentioned, Chlorella is a great little supplement. We have it here at the office. Very inexpensive, great protein source. There's other supplements as well that help move toxins out of the body. We have a very, very good one that I love called R2. And it literally goes into the cells at night and helps kick out the debris that shouldn't be there. Gives your body a big aid. Also, there are detox formulas for the liver. We've got one called Detox Formula. We've got some milk thistle and some other nutrients in it that's going to help the liver to move out these ingredients. So guys, listen, cleansing the body is really simple to do. It's very inexpensive compared to what you'll pay if you don't do it. Go watch 4 Natural Laws of Healing there on our website. at livingwaterscleanse.com, or call the office. It takes up on the $99 special this week. $99, you get a colonic, far-infrared biomat treatment, and a lymphatic detox program as well. Call the office at 208-378-9911. And you're listening to the Whole Body Detox Show. I'm your host, David DeHaas, from Living Waters Wellness Center, livingwaterscleanse.com. If you want to reach out to the office, 208-378-9911, 208-378-9911. Also, make you aware that we have a special for you listeners this week. First-time listeners, $99 will get you a colonic, a far-infrared biomat session, and a lymphatic detox, as well as a consult where, I don't take just 2 or 3 minutes with you. I usually take a pretty good fair amount of time. And I got to tell you, I give you a lot of information in that time. So bring a notepad. You'll probably want it because I tell you a lot in a very short amount of time. Very helpful information that I learned on my healing process myself, coming back from all the allergies and asthma and joint pain and brain fog and adrenal fatigue and eventually cancer. And so I've seen a lot and I've experienced a lot when it comes to health, but I figured out how to heal the body naturally, and it helped our family tremendously. My father-in-law was supposed to die of cancer within 4 months. He lived another 12 years. My dad was given 2 years to live with cancer. He lived he's still living 13 years later, and he's 88 and still feeling great. And my mom had severe allergies. So with that in mind, what we saw when we did a 10-day process versus just regular colonics is that we healed dramatically, quickly, fast, shocking, actually. And so with that premise, we opened the business in 2009 to actually only be open 10 days a month. We just needed 10 days. And then, of course, we had people who did the 10 days and says, well, we need to maintain our health. Can you offer... Can I come in and do a 3-day follow-up liver cleanse? Yes, you can. Well, that's why we're here all the time now. But the premise of our whole treatment program here is our 10-day deep tissue cleanse, which you'll need to learn about by watching the 4 natural laws of healing. And you can see that on our website at livingwaterscleanse.com. Okay, so this came up, and I guess someone's got to hear this. This is not going to be part of the show, but menopause and menstrual cycles. So a lot of complaints come in about those 2 factors. I'm going to share with you, I got a call from a lady. It had been, I think, 3 or 4 years since she had been in, but she was referring to me, her sister, and she says, David, I never went through menopause to any that I could, recall. I didn't have the normal torment that most people tell me about. I said, wow, that's amazing. But it makes sense because I have the same with people who are having severe, painful menstrual cycles. When they come in and detoxify the body and get the toxins out, it is a different menstrual cycle. And you'll have to experience it for yourself. I don't know if I have anybody on tape talking about that, but pretty amazing that they've shared over the years is that, yes, when they get the body cleaned out, think about it, it makes total sense. You get the neurons firing and wiring the nerves. You get all the chemistry balanced out because you've taken off the toxic load, so the body's not fighting amongst itself to stay well. You're going to have a better menstrual cycle, or you're going to go through menopause with not near the problems that most women report. And so we've seen that, and we've had people report back to us. Other big thing I want to talk about today is parasites. It's the holidays. You're probably going to be out in some things, eating some things that you may normally not eat, and you may not know the source. And I'm going to tell you, parasites are everywhere. They outnumber us, even if you're eating organic. And parasites are one of the biggest problematic issues when it comes to dis-ease, especially cancer. If you read Dr. Hulda Clark's research, she'll tell you if you want to get rid of cancer, get rid of the parasites, you'll be in remission as soon as you start. And of course, our experience here at Living Waters of 12 years of hindsight, everyone comes in with parasites. Everyone. And I'm not talking microscopic. We're talking those that we can see with the naked eye, and nests as big as softballs, tapeworms as long as 6 to 20 some feet. And it's even more amazing of the bodies they come out of. You see a tiny lady that weighs 115 pounds and you see this humongous tapeworm, and you're like, whoa, that's amazing. Where's that stored? Or you see the softball sized nest, not 1, not 2, but maybe 3. And the ropeworms and the hookworms and the liver flukes. So those we see pretty easily with the naked eye in the viewing tube when people are on the colonic bed. That's pretty amazing. So we've had people with vertigo, for example, to cancer, all these issues, and we clear out the parasites, and they get well. Lyme disease, for example, is another one. I truly believe that the Lyme, that infection is buried within the parasites, because what we've experienced was when people who have been treated by other people for years come to us. In fact, there's a great testimonial on the front page of our website. She'd been disabled for 35 years because of Lyme. And she did our 10-day cleanse and went back, and her Lyme symptoms were gone, and her eyesight improved by double, which is like amazing. So parasites, they can be microscopic, and usually are when you take them in via food. They're not dancing out there showing themselves, but they will get bigger and larger, and they'll migrate to the colon and small intestine, where they love to hang out, especially the right side. We talked about this in the show last week. The organ, the appendix. Why do people get that taken out? Well, impaction can happen down that lower right side, where the small intestine dumps the food, the digested food called chyme, into the large intestine. It's got to go against gravity. That's where parasites love to hang out. I mean, you're feeding those guys 24 hours a day. They love hanging out there, and they just cause quite a disturbance. And you'll notice that on full moon disturbances. People will get angry, upset, do things they normally wouldn't do, out of their character on full moon. Why? Because the parasites are laying thousands of eggs, and they're causing disturbance. We do have, for just general maintenance purposes, a zapper and a parasite herbal formula that we recommend for people coming in doing the colonics. On the 10-day cleanse, we go a bit deeper than that with some modalities to help treat those parasites. So it's really important to understand that you've got to get these parasites out. So avoiding the best you can raw sushi is probably a pretty good guarantee that you're going to have some parasites from eating raw sushi, which I avoid. Pork's definitely something I avoid. Your body's immune system kicks into high gear. Really important. Another thing that you need to avoid is, what are you doing for electromagnetic frequencies? These are a big thing, and we're seeing a problem with these even more so now with the implementation of these small wireless facilities known as 5G. We've done 5 programs on that. If you go back into the archives at wholebodydetoxshow.com, I talked with Dr. Kent back in the end of October. We talked about, he's an EMF expert. We talked about EMFs. Here's a guy that's been on his towers all his life, and not only did they come to the conclusion how severe it is, but the more he digs into it as a scientist, he's absolutely appalled that we're putting this stuff on Earth. So avoiding these is really, really important. In other words, turn off your Wi-Fi at night. See if you sleep better. Hardwire your home. I'm in the process of doing that now, getting it hardwired. Not as hard to do as you might think, but I would look at that. I turn off my cell phone when it's in my pocket. I don't want to have that thing radiating me all the time. When it's in my office, I have it pushed away from me. We do our best, everything we can do to stay away from these electromagnetic frequencies. They're very, very toxic, and I truly believe that the people that, when you combine that with heavy metals, aluminum, all these other toxins in your body, and you combine it with this radiation from these wireless towers, you've got a recipe for disaster. And we're seeing that now. We're getting more and more reports of people in AFib. The Boise City Council is rewriting their code right now. We're putting in input. You need to put in input because it's a problem, guys, and there's no reason to even have these small wireless facilities when we can do safely fiber optics to the premises like Ammon, Idaho's done, like Dalton Gardens has said no. They're completely legislating out these small wireless facilities known as 5G towers. So it's been good talking to you this week. I'm David DeHaas. I'll be back next week with another episode of the Whole Body Detox Show. Again, take me up on the $99 special. Call the office at 208-378-9911. 208-378-9911. This special is for first-time guests only. Please reach out to us and take your steps into detoxifying your body. You can't treat the body and heal it a piece at a time. You have to treat the whole body naturally. That's why Living Waters Wellness Center 10-day healing retreat is so successful in helping what I call the incurables back to wellness. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
For over a year, I've been dealing with gas pains, stomach pains, and it's been waking me up in the middle of the night, so I never get a full night's rest. And last night, after my first colonics, I slept through the entire night without any stomach pain or any kind of issues.
I suffered from migraine headaches for 12 years, once a month, and since I did the 10-day retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center 8 years ago, I have not even had a migraine. I've not even had a headache.
I had back pain on my left side for about 25 years. After the 10-day healing retreat, the pain is completely gone.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to healingtheincurables.com or call the office at 208-378-9911. That's 208-378-9911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience and may not be right for you. Seek the opinion of a qualified healthcare professional before determining if cleansing is right for you.